Welcome back to the Midlife Transits. I am Cosmic Jessica. Of those transits you can experience during your mid-30s and on, in particular, how they show up for women during these perimenopause and menopause years, and why they're so important to know to help you understand what in the world is going on. Now, perimenopause is an invitation to the deeper spiritual self of you. And I thought that that was a perfect segue into this next transit, which is the Neptune square Neptune. This is a time when the illusions and the fog around your persona and life experiences begin to lift, and you gain some clarity around things that may have been hidden for a very long time. This one also happens in conjunction with your Pluto square Pluto. If you haven't watched that one, go back and watch it, because it's really important that these work together. Because Neptune, not necessarily always classified as a malefic, but I can tell you what, as having Neptune in my first house, conjunct my ascendant, squaring my Venus, this big boy, Neptune is wonderful for softening edges, but let me tell you, there are no edges because it is boundaryless. And that Neptune square is really important for helping you establish new boundaries for a healthier relationship with yourself, but also a healthier relationship with others, especially if you're like myself and you have a Neptune squaring a Venus or a moon in your chart. Very impactful transit for you. And it's super important that you see the clarity for what it truly is. Experiencing that spiritual awakening, because Neptune is also about spirituality. It's about our connection and our relationship with things that aren't tangible. This can be your higher power. This can be when people experience their psychic gifts turning on. And this is very common for women going through perimenopause and postmenopause. You all of a sudden become a channel. And those spiritual gifts you didn't know that you had, they could be your claircognizance, clairaudience, all of them get turned on immediately. And now you're hearing other people's thoughts, other people's energy, and you're confused as fuck. It's confusing. You might think that you're going a little crazy. All of these gifts that you were given were subdued in your younger age, possibly by your caregivers, definitely by society, because the moment you're able to tap into your spiritual gifts is the moment you become ungovernable. Do not forget that. Even though this period of time between your late 30s and your early 40s feels insane. Not gonna lie, it feels like a lot. But it is an initiation and it is a call for you to become ungovernable. Because you begin to learn to trust your intuition on a level that you've never had before. You begin to see in your physical realm proof of your psychic and spiritual gifts. This is not crazy. This is just timing. And that's why I love astrology. Maybe experience impulsivity, which is kind of interesting. You're going to feel the need to kind of act out and do a lot of things because what has possibly worked for you before now feels and appears very weird. So those impulsive guidances, take them with a grain of salt. Now, if you're impulsively being pulled to go to a spiritual retreat, to work with a shaman, to work with a spiritual coach or a teacher, that is not impulsive. That is you being exactly in tune with the energy of what's going on. It's important that if you do choose to work with a spiritual teacher or a mentor, that you also keep your boundaries very firm, because this is the time where you can be easily manipulated and misled. So you need to be able to have a good grounding sounding board of a person or a place or your intuition, which is hopefully you started to set up what that looks like with your Pluto square and your Saturn square for yourself, because it's really easy to drink the sauce. Sometimes that can turn into a really dangerous situation, as we all know and have seen with spiritual leaders misusing their power within the spiritual realm.